So, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever hell you celebrate. Welcome to my Christmas Day haul. I've got a fair amount. Most of it is, of course, Doctor Who. Which actually, I've nearly got all the box sets now. The only box set I've got left is the Black Guardian trilogy. Then after that, got everything. Well, nearly everything. Of course, I've still got all the separate ones left. But anyway, we'll get started. So I've got a few which I bought pre-Christmas, and most of this is what I got for Christmas. So we'll start with the stuff pre-Christmas. We'll start with some of the stuff that isn't Doctor Who. And the first thing is Paul with professional Stuart Ashton lookalike, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and Seth Rogen as the alien. I got this in one of the HMV's bargain bins for about £3. Yep, a lot of people think this is part of the Cornetto trilogy, which was Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End. This is not, because it wasn't directed by Edgar Wright, but it's kind of similar humour, you know, to something like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. This is a really funny film. I think most of you have already seen it. Yeah, but I'm not overly keen on like more contemporary comedies, like modern stuff. I mean, modern, you know, this came out like 10 years ago, but I'd still say this is good. And so is Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. Next one is a Coen Brothers box set. The 8 movie collection. I got this because I didn't know whether or not this was going out of print or not. But I've only seen 2 of the 8 movies. Oddly enough, they put them in reverse order, because they put the newest one first and the oldest one last. But I've put them in the correct order. So the movies in here are The Big Lebowski, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, Intolerable Cruelty, No Country for Old Men, Burn After Reading, A Serious Man, True Grit, and Hail Caesar. Obviously, it's not all the Coen Brothers films, it's just a few of them. And it doesn't have things like Fargo or Barton Fink or Raising Arizona. Here are the discs. So we have, I put these in reverse order. So we have The Big Lebowski. I've seen this one. Classic comedy film. Is it the best comedy film? Probably not, but it's still worth a watch. Oh Brother Where Art Thou, Intolerable Cruelty, No Country for Old Men, the other film I've seen, classic, brilliant film. Burn After Reading, I think this is the polarised one, you either love it or you hate it. A Serious Man, True Grit. Now this is the remake from the Coen Brothers with Jeff Bridges. It was originally a John Wayne film. And Hail Caesar. So yeah. And then the final, then the DVD, which isn't a Doctor Who one, is the complete series of On the Buses. Classic comedy, of course. I know it's a very like polarised sort of comedy, you either love it or you hate it. I know critics at the time and even today revile it. Classic sort of comedy like this, of this era, of this type of comedy, is really hit and miss for me. I mean, I couldn't get into Dad's Army, which was on around about the same time. And Open All Hours, I think, is abominably shit. How the hell can people find that crap funny? It's just not. It's annoying. But yeah, I'd say this is good. I got this for £20, which is a bargain given the fact that they normally charge 30 to 35 quid for it. I think £20 is kind of the proper price you should be paying for this, 15 to 20. Because I think 30 is a bit much, you know, especially for what you're getting. Yeah, you butler. Terrible Blake impression there. This doesn't have the films, it's only the series. So we have Series 1 and 2, so we have discs 1 and 2, which they, oddly enough, it's only on the inside they label which series is which. So series 1 and 2 were in black and white. Series 3 was in colour. The first half of series 4 was in colour, but then the ITV colour strike happened, so the remaining episodes of series 4 were in black and white. Series 5 was of course in colour, and series 6 and 7 were also in colour. I think you can tell these, discs, the reason why I'm saying you wouldn't want to spend like 30 quid on it is because obviously it's very, very light on extras. You get, Reg Varney appearing on other things. You get the first episode of Don't Drink the Water, but generally it's kind of a bit fluff, and also the pictures, it's not been remastered in any way, and you can tell that the tapes they were transferring these from have seen better days. Especially the black and white ones. The black and white ones are basically nothing but dropout. It is just ridiculous. Just how messy they are. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to do like a proper remaster, because obviously this is not like Doctor Who or something where, Doctor Who looks fantastic on DVD. Because they've actually cleaned it up and things. But this one they've just left it. Although something nice is on a few of the episodes you get the VT clocks. Although on some of them you don't, some of them you do. The way you can tell is especially on like series 1, 2 and 5, I think. If you hit rewind as soon as you click on an episode, you can actually see them. But I think that's kind of a thing with network. On some network releases they have them, and on some of the earlier network releases they have the VT clocks and some of them don't. And now we move on to the Doctor Who's, the main meat and veg of this. So we'll start off with the Doctor Who ones I got before Christmas, starting with the William Hartnell story, The Sensorites, which I've seen this. I wasn't a fan. It's an interesting concept, and I mean I think the Sensorites make for really interesting characters. They're basically like prototypes for the Ood, but the story itself is just a bit boring. It really didn't need to be 6 parts. You can kind of tell that I'm completing the Hartnell collection, so as a result, you're kind of left with the slightly naff ones. I was going to say this is the dud of season 1, but I remembered Edge of Destruction exists, so I think it's like the second worst of season 1. Next one is The Web Planet, which is a story where I kind of share the opinion with a lot of fans, is that it is a really ambitious story, especially when it comes to the designs and the creatures and things. And it's an interesting idea, but unfortunately the budget at the time wasn't allowing them to do something good with it. So as a result, it's just a bit tacky. And also 6 parts. Again, why does it need to be 6 parts? Okay, I know why, because they had to fill in the schedules, but they could have written a 2-part or something. That would have done the job just fine. And also on this disc, this is the first one to have PDF material, because on pretty much every one release after this they'd have Radio Times billing and things. This one has the first Doctor Who annual on it, and funnily it has a little readme as a notepad document on the disc, and when you read it, it's supposed to be written in first person, and you can tell it was written by someone who never saw the show or didn't get it, because he kept referring to the Doctor as Doctor Who. His name is not Doctor Who, it is the Doctor. I'm not going to get annoyed, but it's just a bit daft, honestly. And it's just kind of follow my wibbly wobbly fantasy adventures and things like that. It's just bollocks. But I definitely would say if you're going to get this DVD, get it just for that reason alone. It is pretty funny. The Ark, which is a quite underrated story actually. I'm surprised a lot of people don't particularly like this one. This was one which apparently a lot of people are saying this was one that should have gone missing, and I'm kind of surprised this one was kept, you know, because season 3 is basically a mess. You know, there's quite a lot of missing episodes. I think season 3 and 4 are probably the worst affected by the junking, but somehow all 4 episodes of this survive. I like the design of like the monoids and sort of the ideas, although when you watch it now, it's a bit knowing the fact that the story is about the Doctor accidentally bringing a viral outbreak to this sort of space colony. So basically COVID-19 before COVID, about 60 odd years before COVID-19. But yeah. And now we move on to a Sylvester McCoy story, Ghostlight. I've not watched this one yet. I believe this one, the reason why I was putting off so long getting this one was because they cut quite a lot of stuff out of this, because I think this was originally a 4-parter, but they decided they needed to cut it down to a 3-parter, and as a result most of the explanation's gone, so it's near impossible to figure out what the buggering hell is supposed to be happening. Here's the disc, and this is actually the last one I needed, which doesn't come with a picture disc. And the last one I needed from before the To Entertain era. Now we move on to all the Christmas presents, and these are mainly box sets, but we'll have the 3 which aren't box sets, which are the 3 sort of newly released animated Troughton stories. So the first one is The Macra Terror. Yeah, this is the second, I think this is the second or the third animated one. They did Shada a couple of years prior, which was animated to fill in the gap, and then you had Power of the Daleks in 2016. Inside we're using the reversible cover because the original cover this came with matched the slipcover, but I'm using the reversible cover to match in with the rest of the collection. I don't generally use the reversible covers. I don't particularly see the point, and they don't always. You get certain ones that stick out anyway, like you get ones like Ghostlight, for example, which doesn't have a To Entertain logo at all, and you get the ones which have the black To Entertain logo. But, you know, I don't particularly have a problem with having like purple BBC logos on the shelf. Here's the discs. Disc 1 has the colour animation on it. Disc 2 is the black and white animation on it. If I was to watch one, it would probably be the black and white one. And inside we just get, get out of the way, an advert for Doctor Who comics, and a little booklet. This one is shorter than the other booklets you get, which is a shame really, but you know, it doesn't bother me too much. There's quite a lot of information in there, so I'll be giving that a flick through at some point. Yeah, this is the first classic Doctor Who logo to use the current Doctor Who logo, which I don't mind the current Doctor Who logo, but why change it, you know, for the classic series? Because the classic series have been using the John Pertwee, Paul McGann logo for many years, so why change it, especially on the Blu Ray range? I mean, the Blu Ray range, eventually they're going to change that logo when Jodie Whittaker leaves, and then they're just going to, you know, then you're just going to have different logos everywhere. A bit like the VHS days, really. But at least, fortunately, with these ones you do get the reversible cover, so you can match it in with the collection better. The faceless ones, which only 2 episodes of this survive. the Macro Terror and the next one I'm going to be showing you, none of the episodes exist. This one, 2 of them exist. I've seen the 2 surviving episodes. I do really like them. You know, so I'm kind of excited to watch this one. And quite tight slipcover, and again using the reversible artwork. And this one is a 3-disc set. So disc 1 has the black and white animated episodes plus the 2 surviving episodes. They animated the two surviving episodes as well. I think mainly so that way it would sell better, you know, because they were like gonna like sell it to different countries and things. And the fact that obviously, if you want to, you know, you don't have to go all of a sudden from like really nice quality animation to like slightly fuzzy live action. The colour animation and bonus material. Now that is the reconstruction. I don't think it's loose cannon. I think it's somebody else who did the reconstruction. But yeah, inside we have an advert for Doctor Who at Childhood's End, written by Sophie Aldred, and an advert for Edge of Time, the video game, I think. And inside we get another small booklet. And then the final animated one is Fury from the Deep, which is typically one a lot of fans praise, and this is one I'm kind of excited to watch. This one has the new BBFC symbols on it. This one has the 12 symbol on it, which, you know me, I'm not a fan of them. I prefer the older ones, because I do think they just look really cheaply done, really cheap and tacky. The 12 one isn't that bad, because, I mean, it's orange, but, you know, it's just, they just look horrible. They just look quite bad. And they even kept it on the reversible cover. This one comes in the infamous clear case. I don't know why, but I think even now they've started reissuing them with the clear cases, which I don't have as big a problem with it because my reconstructions come in clear cases, but it sticks out, unfortunately. I don't know if it's down to like COVID, they're not able to find, you know, like silver cases anymore, or whether or not it's just cheaper to do the clear cases. I think it might just be because of cost. Anyway, here are the discs. This one has the I think this one has the black and white animation. That's the colour animation and the reconstruction. And you can actually see more clearly the reversible cover, which is exactly the same as on the slip cover. So inside we get another booklet. And the Time Will Victorious, little leaflet advertising crap. And when you buy them like semi-new, they normally come with like leaflets and things. If I can get this thing back in. Now we move on to the box sets. So I've got 7 box sets, which is the most box sets I've ever gotten for Doctor Who, and literally barring one, I've nearly got all the box sets. So we'll start off with Earth Story. This one has in it the Gunfighters and the Awakening, which now means I've got the entirety of the first Doctor's run. I don't know why they stuck them both together, because I don't entirely think they're that relevant. So here's the Gunfighters, which I've heard is quite one of the more comedic ones. I know it's basically like cowboys speaking with English accents. Here's the disc. And then The Awakening, which is a two-parter. Here's the disc. Next one is the E-Space trilogy. This one has in it Full Circle, State of Decay and Warrior's Gate, and that now means I've got the entirety of the Fourth Doctor's run. So we start off with Full Circle, which I've heard is the weaker of the trilogy. Here's the disc. State of Decay, which was the one about vampires. This one is the one I'm most intrigued by. Here's the disc. And then Warrior's Gate, which I've heard is absolutely confusing as hell. They don't explain any of it. A bit like Ghostlight. Here's the disc. Then we move on to a Pete Davison box set. Mara Tales with Kinder and Snake Dance. Annoyingly, they've started issuing the older titles in the clear cases. I think most of these come in the silver cases, so the other ones must be slightly older pressings. These ones are slightly newer pressings, which is a shame really, because I mean it sticks out more, you know, especially in the 80s, because pretty much all the other 80s ones come in silver cases, so that's a bit of a shame. Here's the disc, and there's the reversible cover. Yeah, Kinder, the story about a sentient Kinder egg that comes to life and kills people. I'm joking. And then Snake Dance, which I've heard some people prefer this to Kinder and some prefer Kinder. I've seen neither, so I can't judge. Here's the disc. For the clear cases, like I saw in HMV, I saw a copy of I saw quite a few copies of the Moonbase, which came in clear cases. So that kind of shows to me that pretty much newer pressings will come in the clear case, and most of them still have the silver cases. But I think once I've completed the collection, I might buy like a bulk set of silver DVD cases to replace them. Next one is a fairly infamous box set, Time Flight and Arc of Infinity, also known as Dig Into Your Banker Tales. Time Flight, the cover on this, on this one, Time Flight and Arc of Infinity, the covers aren't that great because it wasn't Clayton Hickman or Lee Binding who did the covers, it was somebody, let me see, Dan Budden who did the covers. He pretty much, this was the only release he actually did the covers for, and you can tell some of these aren't like the greatest because it says the Peter Davison years 1981 to 1984, but all the other ones say 1982 to 1984. I suppose they're both technically right because Tom Baker became Peter Davison in 81, but the first sort of proper Peter Davison story was broadcast in 82. And they bold certain words for some reason, and a few of them they list bonus features twice. Like they list coming soon trailer twice. So you can kind of tell, kind of like with the quality of the stories, you know, they couldn't. The quality of the DVD releases kind of reflect that as well. Time Flight, I've heard, is absolutely appalling. Considered one of the worst stories of Doctor Who. I think it's one where they had a really ambitious idea, but they were too big for their, but they didn't. But the budget couldn't allow for it. And you get things like, I know you had Anthony Ainley as the Master, wearing like, I think he's like wearing like yellow face or something in it. So he is a bit racist, not like Talent of Wang Chiang level racist, but you know, a bit iffy. Yeah, but this is actually one I'm kind of intrigued by, because the story actually sounds quite interesting, and I just want to see how bad it is. And then Arc of Infinity, which I've heard is quite a lot of wasted potential for Omega, who first appeared in the Three Doctors. And also, look at how high Tegan is. This cover shit. This one, I don't think they repeat anything on the back, and they don't bold any of the letters. I've heard this is the better of the two, but not by much. And oh my god, I just realised I didn't notice that until now. They've literally put a cover in upside down. You can tell a lot of these I didn't open the case because there's quite a few to get through. So I'll fix that now. And also, interestingly enough, Colin Baker appears in this before he became the Doctor. And he famously shot his previous incarnation in this. Chameleon Tales, which I've seen quite a lot of videos about Chameleon. He's a really interesting companion. It's just kind of a pity he was so wasted, and he spent pretty much the entirety of his tenure in a cupboard, pretty much, because there was problems with the prop and things. There was like the rumour that it was cursed, because the people who played Chameleon, the guy who built Chameleon, the writers of Chameleon stories, including ones where Chameleon wasn't the central focus, you know, they pretty much all died. But yeah, this as The King's Demons, which is a two-parter, is the disc. And then Planet of Fire, which was the introduction of Perry, and this was the one where they finally killed off Chameleon, because there was like a gap, a long sort of span of stories between King's Demons and Planet of Fire where Chameleon doesn't appear. And when they finally decided, you know what, we need to kill Chameleon off, he's a waste of space, Peter Davison was extremely satisfied when he was doing it. That remorse when he was shooting him, that was pretty much all acting, because he was all too happy to get rid of that bloody robot. Here's the discs. There's the original broadcast version and a special edition with like visual effects changes. Oh, and also I forgot to mention Kinder. There's a special edition in there as well. A fairly big box set now. The Trial of a Time Lord, the whole of season 23. They were originally planning to do like a proper, you know, season 23, but they, due to a hiatus, thanks Michael Grade, they only had 14 slots to fill, so they literally made one massive story, because this is whopping 14 parts long. Some people consider, you know, because I mean, there's 4 stories in here: Mysterious Planet, Mind Warp, Terror of the Vervoids, and The Ultimate Foe. Some people consider them as separate stories, and some consider it one whole story. I don't know what to think. They're kind of both in a way. is the first DVD, Mysterious Planet, which was written by Robert Holmes. I believe Robert Holmes was supposed to have written the whole thing, but he was literally on his deathbed when he was writing this, so unfortunately we lost Robert Holmes not too long after this was written. Mind Warp, which was the return of Seal and the departure of Perry. Yeah, this was written by Philip Martin. Terror of the Vervoids, the introduction of Mel. Okay, I've not seen any of Mel's stories, so I can't judge her yet, but I've heard, and from what I've seen of it, she's absolutely annoying as all hell. I suppose maybe that's what puts me off, like, buying some of the Mel stories, is Mel. Yeah, I know, right, companion, you know, disliking a whole, not buying a whole story just based on the companion. But, you know, I'll eventually get around to getting the rest of them, so, yeah. This was written by Pip and Jane Baker, who also wrote Mark of the Rani and Time of the Rani. And then the final story, Carrot Juice, The Ultimate Foe, which was the final, which was written by Robert Holmes and Pip and Jane Baker. So I think this may have been like the last thing Robert Holmes did before he died. This one is literally Colin Baker's last story because he was literally sacked from the role. You know, the other doctors, they'd all depart. They all it was of their own choice to depart, but they literally sacked him. And as a result, the following story, which was Time of the Rani, for the regeneration, they had to very quickly rush it, and they had Sylvester McCoy in a really bad wig to do the regeneration. But I believe Colin Baker's treated better in Big Finish than he is in the TV series. And it's a shame because I've nearly got all the Colin Baker stories, and he's an alright doctor. He was kind of just lampooned with bad scripts, pretty much, throughout his run. He's a bit like, this is a slightly odd comparison, he's a bit like the Pierce Brosnan of Doctor Who, because Pierce Brosnan, he's one of my favourite Bonds, but unfortunately a lot of his scripts weren't that good, or weren't that well received, with really only one exception. And then finally, the final box set, Ace Adventures, the introduction of my favourite companion, Ace. And this one, I don't know why they put it as a box set, but this is Dragonfire and the Happiness Patrol. Dragonfire was, of course, Ace's first story, so they had to include it, but why the Happiness Patrol? Dragonfire, the last of season 24. Sylvester McCoy's first season, and considered his worst season. The first of season 24 I've got. I know there's quite a lot of bonkers things happen in it, including, right there, fairly infamous cliffhanger, which is literally a cliffhanger. I believe it is slightly better explained in the actual script, but on the show itself, it's a bit of a mess, you know, as to what the hell happens. Yeah, here's the disc. And then the Happiness Patrol, which is one I'm extremely interested in. I know this one is sort of a satire on Margaret Thatcher's Britain. And, I mean, I think this is one that everybody writes off because of that right there. The Candyman, who is literally like Barry Bassett made into a Doctor Who villain. In fact, that's the reason why you can't get a toy of the Candyman, because he looks too similar. So obviously there's copyright issues and things. But yeah, this one actually is really quite intriguing to me, and from like the plotline perspective and things, like if you're not happy in this location, you get executed. So yeah, this one is incredibly intriguing to me, and actually that now means I've got the whole of season 25 now. So yeah, that was it. That was everything. Hope you have a Merry Christmas and hopefully a better New Year. Because to be honest, we can all say when it reaches midnight on the 31st of January, December, fuck you 2020. Let's hope 2021's better. Anyway, bye.